Hello everyone, we are the group 3 and we will be talking about theory of production and marginal products. So, what are you waiting for? Let's go!
Theory of production and marginal products. Basic concepts. Economy involves many different activities, including farm use fertilizer, seeds, and labor. Factories use energy, machinery, labor. Product goods like tractors, DVDs, toothpaste. Airlines use planes, fuel, and labor. And lastly, provide fast travel through routes. The production function links inputs, land, labor, and machinery to outputs. Shows max output with best technology. Example, electricity from gas, coal, and solar. Each method has its own inputs and outputs. Companies aim for efficient production, max output, minimal input. Same result, different methods. US uses machines while Africa uses labor. Both methods part of production function. Every product, service has its own function. Functions change, especially with technology. Total average and marginal products. 1. Total product or TP refers to the total output produced using a specific number of inputs such as labor. It increases as more labor is applied but eventually reaches a maximum. In other terms, the total product of goods or services generated to the production process. 2. Marginal products. The extra output from adding one additional unit of labor, holding other inputs constant. MP initially rises, then diminishes as more labor is added. So in other meaning of this is marginal products is the extra output you get from adding one more unit of something like labor or materials to production. And lastly, average product. Average product or AP is the total output divided by the total number of input units or labor. Average product decreases as more labor is added. So, it is a measure of productivity that calculates the average output produced per unit of a variable unit such as labor. It is calculated by dividing total product by the quantity of the variable input used. For example, there are 5 workers produced 50 tents. The average product is 10 tents per worker because why? 50 tents divide 5 workers is equals to 10 tents or worker. The law of diminishing returns. Adding more input, example, labor, reduces output. Marginal products decreases with extra input. Fixed resources like land or machinery limit output. Overcrowding or overuse causes decline. This means when adding more input, example labor or products, it reduces the output. While in marginal products, it will decrease the extra input, and in fixed resources like land or machinery, it limit the output.
My topic is all about diminishing return in farm experiment. So, what is diminishing return in farm experiment? Farmer Telly adds more labor. Initial increase in productivity, seeding, weeding. After a point, extra labor less effective. Overcrowding reduce productivity. So, unsa man jud ang naa sa diminishing return in farm experiment. So, what is the exact point of this diminishing return in farm experiment? Diminishing refers to the law of diminishing returns. Diminishing means reduce. or also known as law of diminishing marginal returns. This is fundamental economic principle applied to agriculture, where adding more one input, labor, fertilizer, or machinery to fixed factor like land or capital. So, one input is labor, maybe labor, fertilizer, or machinery. Unya, ang fixed factor is example na land or capital. Eventually leads to smaller increase in output such as crop yield beyond a certain point. Additional input may even reduce overall efficiency or yield no further gains. So, natay example. Example niya is a farmer adding fertilizer to a fixed plot of land will see yield increase with each bag until a certain point, which our fertilizer provide smaller and smaller increases in corn output, eventually leading to a decline of if too much is added. These principles apply to other input like labor, where a field can become overcrowded with too many workers, hindering production. So, buot pasabot di ay nga, example, nakay gamay nga land, unya, imong gibot ngan og fertilizer. Sa una siya is kanang mudaghan iyang production, kay bag-o pa man nimong katong fertilizer nga imong gibotang sa land is kanang tumpak gani siya, like kanang mas makaproduce siya og daghang output if kanang ang land nga imuhang gibot ngan og fertilizer is sakto siya. If magkadugay nga panahon, if imo siyang dagdagan og fertilizer nga daghang fertilizer sa daghang panahon, like nana, ang land daw kay like dili na makaproduce og kanang more output, kay murag na sobrahan na siya sa fertilizer ba, maglisod na siya og kuan og output, kay na sobrahan na siya og kanang fertilizer, dili na siya makaproduce og daghan, mas mo decrease pa hinuon ang pangutana. Nganong kung masubrahan is mo decrease man ang iyang output, mao na to kung giingon niya. If daghan gani siya fertilizer nga mabutang sa land, nga gamay ra small amount of land ra imong gikuanan niya, daghan kay siya fertilizer is mo gamay ra gid na iyang output, kay murag na sobrahan na siya ba, dili na siya insakto, dili na siya balance, imbalance na siya, kay dili naman sakto, mas daghan ang fertilizer kaysa sa land. So di ba? Ma-imbalance na siya, maong magkadaghan og fertilizer, magkagamay ang iyahang i-produce nga output. Next is diminishing returns in corn production. Diminishing returns help explain low living standard in densely populated countries like Rwanda or Bangladesh, where many workers share limited land, reducing productivity. It's not due to ignorance but overcrowding of labor. So, kasabot naman ta kung unsa tong diminishing return katong. Next is diminishing returns in corn production. Diminishing returns help explain low living standard in densely populated countries like Rwanda or Bangladesh, where many workers share limited land, reducing productivity. It's not due to ignorance but overcrowding of labor. So, kasabot naman ta kung unsa tong diminishing return katong reduce siya. If more inputs ang ibutang is more inputs ang ibutang is makakos na siya og decreasing output, kay dili naman siya balance, no? So kaning diminishing corn production kanang katupong example nga, if daghan kag labor nga ang i-hire sa small amount of land, kay makakos og overcrowding. So mao ni si diminishing return in corn production. So mao na siya, if more labor ang imong i-hire, mas ma-overcrowd ang gamay nimo nga land, so maglisod siya og produce og daghan kay dili naman makalihok ang kanang ubang labor kay syempre daghan na kaayo ang labor. So another one is return to scale. What is return to scale? Return to scale refers how output responds to proportional increases in all inputs. So buot pasabot di ay pasabot day ani is unsa kadako ang bag-ohon sa output if ang input is patason or proportionally patason. There are three types of return to scale. One is increasing return to scale. Output increase more than proportionally. So buot pasabot, doubling inputs might lead more than doubling output. Buot pasabot ani is kanang if dublihon nimo ang input sa increase return to scale, if dublihon nimo ang imong input is more than pa daw ang mabalik nga output, mas double pa ato if imong dublihon ang input. Sunod is constant return to scale. From the word constant means same siya, balance siya, constant man. So pasabot is if a firm doubles it inputs, it outputs also doubles. Kung iyang dublihon ang iyang inputs, so madouble pud iyang output. Sa increase is kung dublihon niya ang iyang input, mas more than pa daw og kadouble ang iyang output.
Hello everyone, I am Aprilline A. Dagismo. So let's talk about short run and long run. What is short run? Short run is a period where firms can only adjust variable factors like labor and materials, but fixed factors such as capital, example is machinery, factories. So from the word short run, limited time ra siya. So dili dayon ka makausab sa tanang butang sa negosyo. So ay mong ma-change is kanang mga variable factors like labor and mga materials. So kanang mga big things kanang nasa fixed factors kanang machine, mga factories, dili din ka-change ana. So sa example diri is a steel company can increase production by working employees overtime but cannot quickly expand. So sa kanang company is kanang maka-increase din og product kay na may overtime ang employees, pero dili din siya ka-expand og kanang new fabric tungod kay limited time man siya. Let's move on to long run. What is long run? Long run is a period long enough for firms to adjust all factors including capital. Over time, a firm can build new factories, install new equipment, or adopt more efficient process to meet sustained demand increases, leading to higher output and efficiency. So sa long run is kanang ang all factors can changes, such as katong mga factories, buildings, and machineries. Din makahay na sad ka og mga new workers. So sa kanang nga case is kanang ang imong product is kanang efficient na siya og expand na ka sa muhang company and then maka-produce na ka og daghan. So kanang in simple term between sa short run o long run, ang short run is kanang short time ra siya, limited time ra siya. Ang long run is kanang taas-taas siya oras para maka-expand sa company. So that's the difference between long run and short run. So let's move on to technological change. So technological change is a major driver of increased output and higher living standard in the US economy over the past century. So yes, technological change is a major drive of growth because it helps increase production and also people's lives. Yes, kanang maka-improve sa siya sa people's lives because technology doesn't only help yun ang mga businesses but also it makes daily lives better and easier. Like, communicate na kasi mga friends through phones nga katong nasa you and then maka-discover ka og new things. So, through technologies, it make work faster and easier. So the source of growth is it means where the progress or improvements of economy comes from. So we can see that dili lang kay sa labor o sa machinery nga ni growth ang kanang company because tungod sa kanang mga new technologies karon. Example is wide-bodied jets increase efficiency in air travel by 50%. Fiber optics improve telecommunications by lowering costs and enhancing reliability. Computer technologies have increased computations power by over 1,000 times in 3 decades. So, ang ganing jet is a part of technologies because it make air travel faster and also maka-carry siya og passenger and maka-save siya og time and money. So, through fabric optics is it makes internet and phone connections faster and cheaper and also reliable. So there are two types of technological change, the process and product innovation. First, what is innovation? Innovation means creating new ideas or methods. So, process innovation from the word process means finding a better or faster way to make products. So, example is a factory uses new machines to finish work quickly. So, while product innovations means making new or improved products for people. Example is new versions of cell phones with better features. So the impact is where there is new technology, people and companies can work faster and make more products. So because of that, the economy grows and people's lives become easier and better. So both product and process innovation help increase work and improve living. So I am Aprilline A. Degismo, your reporters today.
I am Hannah Jane Esco and I will be discussing about technological change shifts production upward. First, we have a well-functioning market. A well-functioning market is one in which buyers and sellers can freely and efficiently exchange goods, services, or resources with minimal distortions. In well-functioning markets, prices accurately reflect supply and demand. One of the best examples of a well-functioning market is a local farmers market. Why? Because farmers sell directly to many consumers, so no one controls the price. Buyers can choose from different sellers and farmers can freely sell their goods. Farmers compete by offering better quality or lower prices, which benefit consumers. And lastly, farmers grow what is in demand to reduce waste. So, mas mag-focus sila sa unsay demand sa mga tao. For example, ang demand ron sa mga tao kay mga utanon. So, mas mananom sila daghang utanon para mas dako sila ma-profit sa ilang business. So next, we have market failure and technological regress. But let us define market failure first. A market failure is a situation defined by an inefficient distribution of goods and services in the free market. A market failure happens when a market does not allocate resources efficiently, meaning goods and services are not distributed in the best way for society, or in other words, the market fails to produce the right amount of something or produces it at the wrong price. Then, we have technological regress. What is technological regress? Technological regress is the opposite of technological progress. It happens when technology becomes less efficient or society moves backward in terms of production or innovation. For example, a company replaces modern machines with older, slower ones to save money. So, ang company daw, giilisa nila ang ilang bago nga machine sa mas barato. Then, what is the result? Production becomes slower. Kay, barato man ang ilang gipalit nga machine, so hinay pod, slow pod siya mo produce og product or goods. So, the effect, gamay rag ma-produce nga product ang ilang company, then gamay ra silang mabaligya, malugi ang company. Next, we have pollution cost. Pollution cost is the damage or expense caused by pollution. Kuan siya, na siya, daghan siya dala. Makakuan siya sa people's health, sa environment, or sa economy. Isa sa example sa pollution cost kaya a factory produces clothes and releases smoke into the air. Ang isa daw ka factory, gagama sila og sinina, but ga-produce sila og air, which is mo na siya ang pollution. So, ang mahitabo, ang mga tao nga nagpuyo doon sa factory nga makalanghap sa hangin, masan sila? Maghilantan, masipon, kasakit. So, mo na siya maka-cause sa people's health. Then, naapoy uban kay ilang butang sa dagat. So, ang mahitabo kay mga matay ang isda, di ba? Daghanag mga cases nga ingon ana nga mamatay ang isda kay mauni niya sa mga hugaw nga gikuan sa dagat, sa mga pollution gikan sa factory. So, mo na siya ang pollution cost. Then next, we have the technological advances. Technological advances refers to the discovery of new or improved methods of producing goods and services. It allows businesses to produce more output using the same amount of resources or to produce the same output with fewer resources. In short, it increases productivity and efficiency, which helps the economy grow. Isa sa best examples sa technological advances kaya kanang invention sa computer. Kaya nga no, because of computer, ang imong business, mas madali na lang nimo pag kanang encode dito ang imong mga expenses dito i-encode na lang nimo dito sa computer. However, if walay computer, so magmano-mano jud kay mo pa nang isuwat tanan, mag-create pa kag folder. So, di ba, mas dako siya kuan og time? Dakog time management. I mean, mas taas ang time nga kinahanglan kay mag-swat pa ka. If ever na ay problema sa imong negosyo, then you have to find this solution. So, kinahanglan pa ka mag-ukay-ukay dito sa imong mga files kay naraman dito mga manual raman. However, tungod sa computer, i-search na nimo diretso makita na dayon nimo ang imong gipangita. So that is technological advances. Next, we have network and complementary products. Let us define first what is network product. A network product is something that becomes more valuable as more people use it. For example, sa social media kanang Facebook. Di ba ang tanan maka-benefit man kay if mo gamit kag Facebook kanang sign na lang nimo ma-communicate imong mama. For example, naa ka diri sa Cebu then imong mama naa sa Leyte. So sign na lang mag-video call mo sa Messenger, mga musta, then ingon ana. Tas for example, mangita kag afam. Mag-search na lang ka dito sa Facebook og mga afam then i-add nimo dito. So dako jud kay tabang ang Facebook kay maka-access na ta sa atong mga friends, mga families, yung mga relatives, bisag asa pa na sila napadpad, bisag na pa na sila Amerika or bisag asa pa na nag-Mars, mo na siya. Then we have complementary products. Complementary products are two goods that are used together the demand for one increases when the demand for the other increases. For example, sa complementary products kay kanang car and gasoline. Diba? If daghang tao nga mopalit og car, if daghang tao mopalit og sakyanan, so mas mataas ang demand sa gasolina. If ang price sa sakyanan mo ubos, mas daghan ang mamalit og sakyanan, tas mas daghan ang gasolina nga kinahanglanon. So, without gasoline, without car, walay gasoline nga mabaligya or walay tao nga mamalit og gasolina, di ba? So, bali ko na siya kanang tandem silang duha. Kay without car, walay gasolina. For example, kanang cellphone. Without cellphone, walay mamaligag load. Kay wala may cellphone ang isa ka tao. So, man niya magpa-load siya, tas wala siya cellphone, di ba? So, muna siya complementary products. So, last, we have network, link people, and systems. Creating value through interconnections. Example, gas stations for cars, phone for network and communication. So, this means that networks are systems that connect people's products or services so they can work together and create more value. Same sa kung gi-example ganina kadtong cars o gasolina, sakyanan o gasolina, di ba? Gi-explain na ako. Then, ang second example diri kay phone for network and communication. So, without phone, dili ta maka-communicate sa atong kanang example tita nga naa sa Saudi Arabia, di ba? Kay through cellphone man kay atong gamit sa pag-communicate sila kay through cellphone, Facebook, Messenger, Instagram, TikTok or unsa pa na sila diha nga apps. So, without cellphone or phone, mobile phone, something dili na to ma-communicate ang atong relatives nga naa sa layo. Just like if na kay if OFW imong mama, then wala kay cellphone, so maglisod siya kag communicate kay makommunicate mo siya once mga tuwa kumbitiran, mag-online ka na, maghughog, pero hassle na sad siya, di ba? So that's it. Network links people.
Hi everyone! I'll be discussing the remaining topics under business organization.
First, we have big, small, and infinitesimal businesses.
Have big businesses have more resources. This means they have more money, employees, and equipment to use. Example, companies like Jollibee, SM, or even Coca-Cola, they have many branches and workers. Next, small businesses have flexibility. Means they can easily change their products or services depending on what customers needs or wants. Micro businesses include freelancers. Means these are very small businesses or even one person's jobs. Example, freelance graphic designer, online seller on Shopee, TikTok, even in Facebook. Next is the size affects market influence. Means we can see that big companies can influence prices and trends in the market, while small ones usually follow them. Like for example, the Apple. Apple creates trends in smartphones. Smaller brands just follow. Regulation varies by size. This means government rules and taxes are different for small and big businesses or companies. Like for example, a sari-sari store pays less tax than a big supermarket. Economies of scale benefit larger firms. Means when big companies produce a lot, their cost per products becomes cheaper. Then lastly, small firms can innovate quickly. Means they can come up with new ideas faster because they have fewer people and rules. Next, we have individual proprietorship, which is also called sole proprietorship. It means one person ownership. This type of business owned and managed by only one person. Next, it has a simple setup. It is easy to start because you only need basic permits and less paperwork compared to a big companies. Then, the owner has full control. This means the owner makes all the decisions for the business, what to sell, how to price, and how to manage the business. However, it also has unlimited liability. This means if the business has debts or losses, the owner's personal money or property might be used to pay for it. Then, all profits go to the owner. Since there are no partners, all the earnings or the profit belong to the owner alone. It has also limited lifespan. If the owner dies or stops running the business usually ends too. Lastly, the owner pays personal income tax. The profit is considered the owner's income, so it is taxed as part of their personal earnings. To sum up, an individual proprietorship is simple and easy to start, gives full control and full profit to the owner, but it also carries full risk and responsibility to the owner. Next, we have partnership. Partnership is a type of business owned by two or more people. These people work together to run business and share both the profits and the risk. But before starting, partners need to make a partnership agreement. This is a written document that explains how they will divide profits, responsibility, and decision. In a partnership, everyone helps in decision making. They plan, manage, and solve problems together. However, partnership also have unlimited liability. This means if the business has debts or problems, the partners might have to use their all personal money to pay for them. A partnership can also end or dissolve. Means if one partners decide to leave, dies, or if they cannot agree anymore, they can end it. Also, each partner pays personal tax based on their share of the income from the business. In short, partnership means working together to build business, sharing not just the success but also the responsibility and risk that come with it.
Next is the corporation.
Is a business that is a legal entity separate from its owners. This means the company itself can own property, sign contracts, and be responsible for debts, not the owner personally. Limited liability for shareholders. The owners of the corporation are called shareholders. They have what we call limited liability, meaning they only lose the money they invested in the company and nothing more. This makes corporation safer for investor. Corporation can also be raise capital or money by selling shares or stocks to the public. Board of director oversees it. They are the one who manage and oversees the company's operations. One good thing about a corporation is that it has perpetual existence. This means the business continues even if some owners leave or pass away. It doesn't stop existing just because the people behind it change. However, corporations also face some challenges. They are subject to corporate tax and must follow many rules and regulations from the government, which can be quite strict. Then, ownership and control. Shareholders own a corporation. They invest money by buying shares. And a board of directors is elected by shareholders to manage big decisions for the company. There is a separation between ownership and management. First, managers handle daily operation. Sometimes a conflict may happen between the owners and the managers. This is called the agency problem, which it happens when the managers make decisions that will benefit themselves instead of the shareholders. Lastly, shareholders still have influence through voting, especially when choosing directors or approving companies' change. Lastly, we have executive compensation, which refers to how top managers or executives are paid in a company. Executives are the top manager or the people who hold high position in the business, such as the CEO, president, or vice president. Their pay usually includes salary, bonuses, and sometimes stock option, which means they can buy company shares or the lower prices. Compensation often linked to company's performance. The main goal of giving these rewards is to motivate executives to perform well and make the company successful. However, executive pay can sometimes be controversial, especially when top managers earn very high amounts while regular employees receive much less. It also aims to motivate top talent because many companies believe that good compensation helps attract and keep talented leaders, and the stock options help align the interest of executives with the company shareholders, meaning they both benefit when the business grows. Can create incentives for short-term performance. That's why it's also important to note that this system can sometimes lead to short-term decision-making, where executive focuses on a quick profits instead of a long-term success. In a summary, executive compensation, a way to reward and motivate top managers, but it should be managed carefully to keep it fair and balanced for everyone in the company.
And that's all. I hope you learned something from the very beginning up until this slide. Thank you!